Have you ever had one of those days? You wake up fine, you feel great, but then someone, a colleague, a driver, maybe just a random comment online, pushes a button, and instantly your whole mood changes. You're stressed, you're angry, you're bothered. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, what is the real cost of letting other people control your emotions? It's not just 15 minutes of frustration. It's the elevated heart rate, the sleepless nights, the price your health and your relationships pay. Every single time you allow an outburst, you are letting an external factor erode your internal peace. But here's the truth. That person didn't just ruin your day. You gave them the remote control. You handed them the power to dictate your peace. We all know that feeling, that fire in your chest, that immediate urge to fight back. But what if there was a way to never give that power away again? This is the story of John, and it's the story of how he learned the art of not taking the bait. This lesson will change the way you see people, conflict, and most importantly, your own mind forever. John was a rising project manager in Seattle. He was smart, driven, and he had a fatal flaw. He genuinely believed he was always right, and the world was obligated to behave according to his standards. His anger wasn't confined to the workplace, it leaked into every corner of his life. If he hit traffic, John would constantly drum his fingers on the steering wheel, muttering curses, ruining a crucial client call right before the meeting. Once, his girlfriend simply forgot to buy his preferred type of yogurt over the weekend, and John turned a relaxing date night into a tense debate about responsibility and attention to detail. He thought he was defending his values, but in reality, he was pushing away the people he loved. John's life was a tiring cycle of constantly fighting everything around him to prove his worth. He slept poorly, always felt agitated, and suffered frequent stomach pains. He didn't realize all that pain was self-inflicted. One Monday morning, everything came to a head. He received an email that felt like a physical punch to the stomach. It came from a senior executive he disliked, and worse, the email was copied to the entire team and management. The subject line read, "Urgent. This report is unacceptable and shows a serious lack of attention." The body of the email was sharp, used personally aggressive language, and publicly humiliated John's work he had spent his entire weekend completing. John's blood instantly boiled. He felt a heavy pressure in his chest, his vision narrowed, and his breathing became shallow. It was the primal fight-or-flight reaction. His mind screamed, "He's wrong! He has no right to talk to me like that. I must reply right now." His hands flew to the keyboard. He began writing a full, detailed reply, every word fueled by rage, determined to tear apart the executive's argument and defend his honor. He spent 15, maybe 20 minutes drafting the perfect toxic response. He reread it, feeling a small, toxic sense of satisfaction. His finger hovered over the send button. He knew sending it would start an all-out war, but he felt compelled to do it. He was about to give away his peace for the sake of being right. John had a bad habit. Whenever he was about to blow up about work, he'd post an obscure status online, something like, "Waiting for karma to do its job," or "Some people should just retire early." Just then, his phone buzzed. It was a text from his old mentor, Mark. Mark was known for being the calmest person John had ever met and had followed John's career journey for years. Mark had seen the status update, and he knew exactly what was happening. He'd seen those warning signs too many times before. The text simply said, "I saw the post. Don't take the bait. Call me." John put the laptop down and called Mark. John vented, reading the email aloud, detailing all the unfairness and irrationality of the executive. Mark listened patiently without interruption. When John was done, Mark didn't talk about the executive's rudeness. He talked about fishing and power. "John," Mark said calmly, "the executive just threw a hook into the water. It's an invisible hook covered in poison, the poison of anger and stress. He throws it out there not because of you, but because of his own fear. Maybe he's under massive pressure from above, or he feels powerless. He needs someone to lash out at and prove he still has authority. That's why he throws the hook." Mark continued, "When you spend 20 minutes drafting that angry reply, what are you doing? You are biting the hook. You are letting him pull you out of your calm, peaceful boat and into his stormy ocean of chaos. You are allowing his pain to become your pain. You are giving him the ultimate power, the power to control how you feel and how you spend your energy. In every moment of attack, you have a choice to react instinctively or to respond intelligently. Reaction is survival instinct. Response is strength. The moment you react with anger, you are confirming two things. First, that his words are true. Second, that he owns your peace. John, real strength isn't winning the argument. Real strength is choosing not to jump into the fight. That image hit John hard. He realized he had been biting hooks his entire life, willingly entering endless battles. So, how do you stop? Mark gave him a simple, science-backed tool, the 3-second rule. Neuroscience tells us that immediately after an emotional trigger occurs, there is a very brief pause before the emotional brain, the amygdala, takes over completely. The 3-second rule is the time you reclaim the steering wheel from the amygdala and hand it over to your prefrontal cortex, your center for reason and decision-making. The next time someone throws dirt, an insult, or a toxic email at you, John, do not react for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, you must take 3 steps. First, put the phone or mouse down. Cut the physical connection to the trigger. Second, take one deep, conscious breath. This helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, instantly cooling the fire. Third, ask yourself one key question. What outcome do I actually want? Do I want to be right and feel miserable? Or do I want to be effective and maintain my peace? John tried it. He deleted the aggressive draft. He got up, took a slow walk around the office, and came back with a quieter mind. He waited an hour. He wrote a short, professional response focusing only on the facts and offering a concrete solution devoid of any emotion. The executive replied curtly, and the conflict ended right there. John didn't win the argument, but he won his day. He felt a deep sense of peace. That night, he slept soundly, while the executive was likely still awake, waiting for a fight that never came. When you refuse the conflict, you take away its energy. But change always meets a bigger test. A few weeks later, during a high-stakes meeting, the executive attacked John again, this time directly in front of a major client. He raised his voice. "This report is too flimsy. I don't know why John is wasting our time with this data." John felt his heart pounding. Everyone looked at him. The familiar heat rose up. But this time, he heard the alarm bell. The 3-second rule. John paused. He said nothing, placing his pen down. Step 1. He took a slow, deep breath, looking at a neutral point on the table. Step 2. He asked himself, do I want to humiliate him, or do I want to save this deal? Step 3. Just 3 seconds. Those 3 seconds changed the answer. John looked straight at the executive, his gaze calm and professional. He said in a measured, emotionless tone, I understand your concern about the data section. Let's redirect our attention to page 12, where we detail the risk projection. I believe that information will address your question. We should focus on the objective of this meeting. John's calmness disoriented the executive. There was no argument, no reaction for him to latch on to. John chose to respond by redirecting the meeting instead of reacting and destroying it. The meeting continued and the deal went through. John had not only saved the day but earned the silent respect of his colleagues and the client. Years later, John became known as the calmest, most effective manager at the firm. When people came to him for advice on toxic colleagues, he always smiled and said, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. And you certainly don't have to bite the hook. We cannot stop people from saying hurtful things. We cannot stop problems from coming. But every single time you choose the 3-second rule, every time you choose to respond instead of react, you build an inner fortress that no email, no insult, and no difficult person can breach. Real strength isn't about shouting back. It's about whispering, I won't catch the dirt, and walking away with your peace intact. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. Next time someone throws a hook, smile and refuse the invitation. So remember this from John's story. You never have to take the bait. Your peace is non-negotiable. This is the key to building your peace. If this story gave you a new tool for your life, hit that subscribe button. Join the community working to build their inner fortress. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep writing your better story.